If there's one thing that Doctor Who fans know everything about, and there's always a detailed and thorough and comprehensive conversation to be had, it's about viewing figures. Now, Doctor Who The Star Beast broadcast on the 25th of November 2023, a couple of days after the show's big Diamond anniversary, and just 1 week after a massive Children in Need broadcast that was watched by millions of people in the UK. And now we've got the official numbers for the overnight figures. Now, these are not the 7-day figures, these are just the people who watched live or on the night of broadcast in the UK. So, here's an article from the Radio Times. Doctor Who The Star Beast becomes the biggest drama launch of 2023. It's a huge week for Doctor Who fans, and the overnight ratings for the first 60th anniversary special The Star Beast have proven it. The first special, which saw David Tennant and Catherine Tate return to the sci-fi after 15 years, has become the biggest drama launch of 2023, with an overnight audience of 5.08 million. It is the biggest Doctor Who overnight figure since the 2019 New Year special, Resolution. The figure is yet to take into account the amount of people who viewed on catch-up, which will be available after 7 days. So, this is actually pretty big, because while we don't know exactly what the full scope of the viewership will be, like I said, this is just the overnight one, so we don't even have an audience percentage share yet. The fact that a drama was able to eclipse I'm a Celebrity, which should have been one of the biggest shows on a Saturday night, that's actually quite a big deal. Strictly basically always wins the live viewership, the on-the-night viewership, because it's an older audience who are typically going to be settling down on a Saturday or Sunday night, and dramas can be caught up anytime. For example, I remember it's the Man, the Thief and the Canoe, which was seen by maybe like 3 or 4 million people live on broadcast, but then all of the episodes went up on ITV streaming service, and by the end of the week was seen by 10 million. So it would not surprise me if the Star Beast, we've got all the good word of mouth as well, and just the generally positive reception of the story. It would not surprise me if we could see potentially 7 to 8 million overall. It might not eclipse Strictly, but it will definitely be one of, if not the biggest drama of the year. Possibly only eclipsed by the upcoming Christmas special starring Ncuti Gatwa. BBC entertainment correspondent Lizo Mazimba has also been on the extra stuff as well. The Doctor Who Unleashed was watched by 373,100 viewers on BBC Three. Most watched non-sports programme on digital channels, that is non-terrestrial channels, aka not BBC One, BBC Two, ITV, Channel 4 and Channel 5, only beaten by 2 Premier League matches and Formula One qualifying, which is also another pretty big deal. Now, a lot of people are going to be asking, what is the international viewership? Because we have to remember as well, The Star Beast was not just broadcast in the UK, it was kind of simulcast on Disney Plus across the world. And according to, I think it was Billy Garrett John on Review of Death, he said on their latest episode that Disney Plus actually got the episode 2 minutes before it broadcast on BBC One. Thank you to Flippant in the Mr. Titus Discord server for sending this across. We've got this, Disney Plus Top 10 in the United States on November 27th, 2023. The top 10 movies, Doctor Who The Star Beast was number 4. Just below Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, Disney Pixar's Elemental, and Home Alone. We also have this chart here as well from Flix Patrol, which does not give us the audience viewership, but it does give us the ranking in terms of the most watched shows on Disney Plus that week. In Austria, number 2, Bahamas, 4, Belgium, 2, Belize, 4, Brazil, 4, Bulgaria, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 3, binary, etc. The average ranking across the world for Disney Plus for Doctor Who The Star Beast was 2.7. So the fact that Doctor Who The Star Beast was up to like one of the top 3 shows watched across the world on one of the world's biggest streaming platforms, that's actually pretty big. Considering as well that it doesn't have the back catalogue, Disney Plus does not have the back catalogue of Doctor Who, unlike the BBC iPlayer. I can only imagine what the marketing might have been outside of the UK. But either way, I think the fact that this makes the top 5, the top 4 without fail at least, across the world on Disney Plus, that's pretty outstanding. Now, also, just to clarify as well, if The Star Beast is the second most viewed show on Saturday night in terms of the overnight viewers, it's pretty safe to say it was the second most viewed show of the week broadly, possibly only eclipsed by the Strictly Result show a day later. we will obviously have a much clearer picture when it comes to the full BARB 7-day viewing figures. What tends to happen, layman's terms, is that strictly because most people watch live, we'll only get maybe a 10 or 15% bump from catch-up, but dramas like Doctor Who, like The Old Man and the Canoe, like Time, like Shetland, for example, that's broadcasting on ITV at the moment, that can see sometimes double the amount of viewership over the course of the 7 days. And also, one thing about the Star Beast as well, while there was, of course, the audience wanting to know how David Tennant and Catherine Tate return, there's not that much spoilerific in regards to the Star Beast as well. So there's not the sense that you have to watch it immediately this week. I've seen quite a few people predict that as the weeks go on, this overnight figure and potentially even the 7-day figure might actually go up and up, kind of like how Series 4 started on like 8 or 9 million? Only to later end with 11 to 12 million in terms of the 7-day BRB viewing figures. Don't Strictly and I'm a Celebrity have a broader audience? They have a predominantly older audience who watch it out of routine. It is harder to get an audience invested in a drama week on week, where it's a lot easier to make something like Strictly, like I'm a Celebrity, like Big Brother. It's a lot easier to make that part of the routine. It's one reason why reality TV shows and entertainment shows are such a big thing in the UK. I can't talk about general trends worldwide. Is 6:30 too early? It was too early for me. I was at work until midnight that evening. Doctor Who, the Star Beast should have broadcast at 1 a.m. just for me. BARB viewing figures do take into account Disney Plus and do take into account Netflix, but in terms of other countries, we only really have the ranking. But this is a hugely positive outcome as far as I'm concerned. BARB is the industry standard for basically figuring out what people are watching in the UK. For example, if we go to the past week in TV, I'm a Celebrity was the most watched show with 10.2 million, Strictly Come Dancing just below with 9.78, Strictly Come Dancing, Great British Bake Off, Planet Earth. Now, in terms of the top 50 shows for the week of November 13th to November 19th, BARB is normally a week or two behind. Entertainment shows, as you can see here, are the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got a documentary here with Planet Earth 3 with just over 6 million. Shetland is down here at number 6. Then we've got Coronation Street, Emmerdale, the BBC News at 6, Weakest Link, Emmerdale, Binary. I'll stop doing that joke, I promise. But yeah, so this is where I get my statistics for UK viewership. This does count Disney Plus, this does count Netflix, but if you search Netflix, there's no show in the top 50 for the BARB for that week. On Disney, there's no show in the top 50 for that week on Disney Plus. On Amazon, there's no show in the top 50. So, yeah, when people say TV is dead, long live streaming, streaming very, very rarely cracks the top 50. Sex Education did when it broadcast Wednesday, episode 1 did when it first dropped on Netflix. First episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi did on Disney Plus as well, but very rarely do I see streaming shows in the top 50. Terrestrial TV does still reign supreme in the UK at least. Also, I am Mr. TARDIS, of course, but because I did not watch this until the early hours of the morning, I am not counted amongst these figures. A lot of people have been anecdotally saying that they were at Christmas light events, Christmas light turn-ons in their local area on the Saturday night. So I think a lot of people are going to be catching up. And once again, when it comes to word of mouth, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens over the next 7 days. If the BARB have the data for the week next week, we'll talk about it properly then. But yeah, the biggest overnight Doctor Who figure since Resolution. And keeping in mind that we have had numerous holiday specials and 2 series launches since then, that's pretty big. That's not to say that Jodie Whittaker's eras were notably low. You know, they were low in comparison to previous Doctor Who, which is in an age before streaming, in an age before catch-up, etc. They were just, it just kind of shows how big this particular launch is, as opposed to how low Jodie's era was. And congrats as well to the BBC Three team and Stefan Powell and the other folks at Doctor Who Unleashed for a pretty solid and strong launch as well. Of course, you know, this figure could always be higher and they always expect maybe higher, but let's not forget that so many behind-the-scene clips will be on YouTube. Is Unleashed on Disney Plus, by the way? I want to know if I've got anybody internationally, anybody outside of the UK who's watching this live stream. Is Doctor Who Unleashed on Disney Plus or any other streaming service? I hope it is, because you folks are missing out. No? It's not. You folks are missing out. It's on YouTube. Is it on YouTube? So if you Google Doctor Who Unleashed behind the scenes, there's a 5-minute version. Doctor Who Unleashed is like half an hour long on BBC iPlayer. So there are clips there. But yeah, so this is like the super cut down version. But yeah, Doctor Who Unleashed, that's a really, really cool launch. I look forward to seeing what happens over the next week. Doctor Who Unleashed, there's a pretty high chance it's going to be on the Blu-ray and DVD home media releases that are going to be happening later this year. In fact, actually, let's transition this into the news that we got earlier as well. 2 seconds. It's almost as if I planned it. I didn't plan this. No, I didn't. We got the official cover reveal of the 60th anniversary specials, the Steelbook here. This looks so cool. I think this is Sophie Cowdery, who has done a lot of the awesome artwork for the last few Steelbook releases, but this is so beautiful. Love this so much. So yeah, we've got a Celestial Toymaker there. We've got Beep. All hail the Meep Wrath Warriors. They are really hiding. Like, they're really burying the lead for the upcoming Wild Blue Yonder. There doesn't seem to be any Wild Blue Yonder representation on this cover. They're really, really burying the lead there. This looks so cool. I'm assuming this is Sophie Cowdery, who was also actually working as a assistant graphic designer on the 60th anniversary specials. Her name was in the credits, going from fan to the official production. Awesome stuff. Also, my prediction for Wild Blue Yonder, they've landed in another TARDIS. That's my prediction. That's mine. And I think we're getting another Doctor. But of course, I would say spoiler warning, but that is just a pure guess of mine. Oh, did you folks see this, by the way? Doctor Who, the Bedtime Story. So, for the canon of the 14th Doctor, the canon goes, as far as I'm aware, Power of the Doctor, Liberation of the Daleks, Destination Skaro, and then the 14th Doctor lands on planet Bedtime Stories, and then reads the kids of the UK of CBeebies a bedtime story.
Oh, hello! I'm the Doctor. Oh, fancy seeing you here.
It looks like he's talking to me. It looks like he's talking to me. He's not, of course. He's talking to this little Chadlet here, this little potato thing. Now, folks, we're going to have so many conversations on the 100th anniversary of Doctor Who. Who was the coolest 14th Doctor companion? Was it Donna Noble, or was it Little Potato Thing from CBeebies Bedtime Stories? So for those of you who don't know, CBeebies Bedtime Stories is an ongoing series where they get insanely high-profile celebrities to read children bedtime stories. They've had Steve Carell, they've had Tom Hardy, they've had Olympians, they've had Tom Hiddleston reading a bedtime story to children.
Everyone gasped. Yes, a pea.
Of all the clips I could have landed on, of all of the out of context moments, Tom, you can't just say that in front of the children.